Oh, see, I'm wrong again. Yeah, it is right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am not so certain why it keeps coming to this panel on immigration forum, but it is what it is. This was the last uh, forum that we did, and thank you for watching, joining, most of all, liking and sharing our Village Radio Talk Show. I am Roderick Daly. I am your host for this evening, and just want to thank you for joining us. Today, we were dedicated to empowering the community to live a healthy, safe, and financially capable life through education, helping each one of us in realizing our dreams at any age, at any point, starting from today, where success is not just spoken, it is done. All right. So thank you again for joining us. Please feel free to tune in, tell a friend, bring a friend, and let them join. So, we haven't had a really live show in a couple of weeks. One week I was in Jamaica. This one week, um, I haven't been on in a couple of weeks. Like I said, so one week I was in Jamaica. The next week I was we had the forum. So that opportunity was missing. And so we're looking forward to um, to everyone being able to chime in, say whatever is happening, tell us what's going on with you, right? All right. So please and thank you. Let us update us. Uh, Boy, tonight I am swamped. I've been getting up really early lately. I feel like an old man. Mm, You know, I need a cup of coffee. So as soon as Dr. Bryant gets on, I am going to go leave her for a moment so I can go make myself a cup of coffee because I can't handle being tired. So, but anyway, everyone, looking forward to it. Um, really excited about it, right? And there are a lot of things that we need to talk about. We're not going to have time to talk about a lot of them. We do have a guest host coming on in a few minutes. Um, he'll be on Lawman Lynch. He's running for city council in one of the local districts that is part of the district here in part of central Brooklyn and Bushwick, Bed-Stuy, and the likes. So he'll be on in about 5 to 10 minutes. And so, but there are a lot of things happening. Um, One of the things that I'm so impressed with, and I have to turn sideways and, as Jamaicans say, cut your 10, because man, answer me this, right? Answer me this. Elon Musk came in and muck up the administration, muck it up. And then he leaves the administration and turns against the administration. You're muted. You're muted. You're muted. You're muted.
You know what? That's the way life goes. Like Janet Jackson's song goes, that's the way life goes.
That's not how she sang it. You cut it out. That's
Listen, it
uh,
is life.
why you
With
get
those two,
why all black singers like to put their own look on every song? That's not what she said. All right.
listen, anyway.
Wait, if you're gonna sing it right. It's a good song.
Anyway,
And by
anyway.
the way, that song is
Good
highly.
evening,
Wait, hold on, hold
everyone.
on.
Good
Wait,
evening,
that
good evening.
song is highly appropriate. extremely appropriate for what we're talking about. But you got to at least sing it right, though. Right? You got to at least sing it right because you're 100% correct.
Roger,
He
zip
mucked
your lips.
everything up.
Zip your lips.
Right?
All right.
He
Good
mucked-
evening, everyone. I love the topic I came in on because we knew that was going to happen. We knew.
I think we were wondering how long before.
But you know what? It's funny because I was listening to, I don't know who it was, a reporter, I think on CNN. It must have been like 3 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. And they mentioned that now that he's not on drugs, he woke up and he's like, oh, what is happening? So,
We know it
I
wasn't
don't
Don
know.
Lemon.
What happened?
We know it wasn't Don Lemon.
Oh, Lord Jesus. Anyway,
Oh,
so
homo.
now that love relationship has come to an end, and
Not
now
the love relationship.
it is a love
The
relationship.
honeymoon has come to an end.
Okay.
Because the whining and dining. They got married in November, right? The honeymoon started in January.
So we lasted a while. Let's see.
It lasted 3 months. Lasted 3 months before the divorce. Yeah, he's calling them all kind of names.
No, it's more than 3 months, my friend. It's more than 3 months.
It's 3 months. Well, 4
They've
months.
been hanging, like he mentioned. He made a statement that if it wasn't for him, Trump would have never won the election.
And you know what? It is true, though.
Mhm,
That's a true
mhm.
statement. You know
Mhm.
why I said that's a true statement? This is
Because
why.
he cheated. And he was offering people money.
Exactly. So he put up that $1 million and he invested hundreds, or I would say close to hundreds of $1 million into his campaign.
Mm.
Right. So I'm not saying he's the only reason why Trump won, but he was a major part of why Trump won. I definitely believe that.
And Trump got upset because he said that. He wants to block him from all the government funding and everything that was
Too
favored
late.
towards
It's
him.
too late. He got rid of the Department of Education. He talk about these pork things that they're doing.
Yeah.
All of this stuff is too late. Trump is it. Let me tell you something. I know in real life like 3 people
Mm-hmm.
who's more narcissistic than Trump and Musk. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a difference between confidence, realizing your worth,
Mm-hmm.
and narcissistic behavior,
Mm-hmm.
right? The constant look, like that person who constantly have the mirror that they have to look in to see how they, making sure, walk around with a mirror or walk around with a comb that makes sure that their hair is perfectly straight, that kind of person. But it's crazy. And now after he said it, he's now going after. He's also following up with going after Biden now. He wants to go after Biden for the
I
use.
don't know what his problem is with Biden. Like, yo,
He's
get
obsessed
over it.
because people rate Biden above him. Like they rate him off one of the top 5 worst presidents in the history of the United States,
Because
and
he is. Mm-hmm.
Biden is in the top 10 best presidents in the history of the United States, and he can't accept that. He cannot accept the fact that people look at Biden and has decided that Biden is better than him. He cannot accept that, and
Because
so
he,
right, and it's sad. It's sad. Like it's like there are people who do that though. Joanne. The only way for them to be better,
is when they step on other people.
yep, to say this person I need to make this person look bad in order for me to be better.
Mm.
You have that. right? You have that as a major issue. But we only have a couple of minutes. Our guest is here. Um, and so let's pick a topic that we want to talk about. Let's talk about the mayoral race real fast, right,
No,
Del?
I don't want to talk about the mayor race. What I want to talk about is going back to Trump and putting these 12 countries on to say that they should not come to the United States. They should not, terrorist organization. And we touched that last week in regards to many of the countries are black countries that he mentioned. In addition, my homeland is one of them that they put up that they don't want people traveling back and forth to. So
Some of
that
these
is,
countries would deserve to be on there. I will admittedly say. Um,
but a lot of African countries they put on.
I do think some of these countries do. Somalia, definitely, in my opinion. Afghanistan, Sudan, Yemen, definitely. Um, I, I would be hesitant to say that they don't. Haiti absolutely does not belong there, and I think that with Haiti, he's continuing his um,
Beef.
his beef uh, with it. Burma just has a strong government. Myanmar has a is a nonsense government. I don't know if they're terrorist countries. Um, I don't know much about Equatorial Guinea. I do know that I could see why Iran is there. I definitely can see that because of the ongoing feud with Iran. However, Libya, I know why it's there. I don't agree with it. Um, you know, I think there has to be better investigation in terms of Muammar Gaddafi. And I think we have the Western Hemisphere's um, conversations around Muammar Gaddafi and Libya. And there's a lot of untruth to it, just like in South Africa, the Republic of South Africa. I think there's some issues there. But Haiti, I'm very disappointed that he's not even doubling down, but tripling down on what's going. Again, there are issues in Haiti, ladies and gentlemen. A Haitian person will tell you that there are issues in
Right.
Haiti.
But to
Uh,
consider Haitian people terrorists, that's a
right,
problem.
right.
That's
But
a
they're not,
problem.
right, they're not terrorists, right? They have
No.
civil wars going
Yeah,
on.
it's unfortunate that a lot of the people, the funding that's
You
put
know, the
to the
way
criminal
Joe,
activities
Dr. Brian,
are coming from the United States.
wait, Dr.
Right.
Brian, hold on. I think our guest could actually participate in this conversation.
Yes.
What do you think?
I
Because he will
absolutely
be, if he is elected, he will be representing a significant amount of our Haitian brothers and sisters as well. So, what do you think? Bring him on. We could continue.
absolutely.
Let's do that because he has been waiting for a little bit. Mr. Lynch, give me a thumbs up if you are ready.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. How are you? And welcome to the Village Talk Show.
Good. Good evening. Good evening. Thank you so much for having me. It is indeed a pleasure. It's an honor to be on the show this evening. Good evening, Sir Roderick. It has been a while since I've
Yes.
wanted to be on. Good evening, Dr. Bryant. So I'm very, very appreciative of, both of you having me on this evening. Much respect to your listeners, to your viewers. I've been listening keenly at the before conversation. Very, very interesting conversation, and most definitely, I'm happy to chime in where necessary.
I thought you'd want to. I thought you'd want to chime in. I don't know what made me think that, but yeah, but just to familiar. I'm sorry, Dr. Brian has a question for you. I apologize.
Yes, I'm sorry. Many of
That's
our
okay.
listeners, I want you to do a proper introduction to our listeners to let them know who you are and just let you bring the fullness, okay? Because I can't do
Okay.
justice, and Roger can't do justice. So definitely, you know. So please
You know,
introduce yourself.
Dr. Bryant, it's a very interesting question you're asking me, and this is actually one of the toughest questions
Ay,
for
ay,
me.
ay.
Talking about myself, honestly, it really is a challenge for me to speak about myself, and that has been the case for a very long time. But for your listeners and viewers, my name is Lawman Lynch, and I am a city council candidate for District 41 right here in Brooklyn,
All right.
Central Brooklyn. District 41, for those who don't know, comprises areas of Eastern Bed-Stuy, Ocean Hill, Brownsville, Crown Heights, the eastern section of Crown Heights, East Flatbush, and Remsen Village. I've always been a community development specialist, practitioner, whatever you want to call it. I am really passionate about youth and community development. So my decision to run for an elected office is based on two overarching reasons. One, from a personal perspective and also from a collective perspective. Personally, I believe that it's natural progression for me, right? Because I've always felt the need to serve.
Mhm.
If you knew me from a very, very long time ago and understand my history, understand where I'm coming from, I've always had this passion for service. As a matter of fact, my church is the Salvation Army. Has always been the Salvation Army. I was christened in the Salvation Army. And if you know anything about the Salvation Army, we're really about
Yes.
serving our community, right? So that's the personal aspect of it. The collective aspect of it is that I've lived in District 41 for of the 15 years that I've been in the United States of America. Collectively, I've been in the district for about 13 of those 15 years, right? And I've had been asked by many individuals in various fields, to really represent them, right? And I believe that we need to elevate the conversation around the most vulnerable and the marginalized in District
Mhm.
41. As a matter of fact, one of the communities, the largest community in District 41, uncomfortably, it is known as one of the worst in Brooklyn. And I believe that we need to change that ideology. And currently, the leadership that is there is not doing much to do so. So I want to show people that
Mhm.
they need better and they deserve better. So this
Mhm.
is an authentic manifestation of putting people first. And that's my slogan, putting people at the center of everything that we do.
All right. Now that's an introduction. But I'm hearing some accent, you know, similar to my partner. Where are you from?
I'm from the beautiful island of Jamaica.
Okay, okay. So if you didn't know, now you know.
Now you know, right? Yes.
That's awesome. We are excited to have you on.
Thank you. I'm excited to be
Excited
here.
to yeah, to hear your passion, your heart. So I one area that you peaked, you was like your church is the Salvation Army. Is that the name of your church? The Salvation Army is located inside the Salvation Army?
So the Salvation Army is known as worldwide as a social services organization. But really, of a fact, the
Mhm.
Salvation Army is a church
Right.
first before anything else. I don't want to use the terminology breakaway, but our founder was Anglican. And then he started the Salvation Army in London because he saw where there was a need to
Mhm.
provide two basic necessities: soap for those on the streets who wanted to get shower, and soup for those who were hungry. And that's how the Salvation Army really was born, um, by the visionary, through the vision of William Booth and his wife Catherine Booth.
You see, he's coming to bring history about Salvation Army. A true passionate about that. I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I know that you jumped into our conversation. I don't want to end it because the thing is that's gonna segue into the first question I have for you.
Okay.
Being that you are immigrant and you're noticing that some of the other immigration company immigrants are being pinpoint and saying, hey, they're being labeled and identified as terrorist organization, even if they might not be.
Mhm.
What would be some of the work? I go straight into it. What would be some of the advocacy that you would do to help to support some of the immigrants that's here? And then also, what will be your stand?
You know, the word terrorist is a very strong word,
Mm-hmm.
and it is woefully unfortunate that the premier leader of our nation, these United States of America, find it so easy and flippantly to label so many individuals as
Mm-hmm.
terrorists, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in overhearing the conversation earlier, quite frankly, I couldn't justify any of those countries being on the
Mm-hmm.
list because at the end of the day, not everyone in any
Yes.
particular country, right,
Represent. Mm-hmm.
subscribes to
Mm-hmm.
terrorism. And if we want to go deeper and exercise fairness, there may be domestic terrorists,
We have plenty here.
right?
Plenty here.
Exactly. So if
Homegrown, like they call it, homegrown.
homegrown, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if we want to expand that conversation, we can certainly do so. But I
Mm-hmm.
do have a vested interest in how we approach this situation, especially for Caribbean nationals,
Mm-hmm.
right? When we had a change of the guards in when the Democrats lost the elections in November, and then we had a change of the guards in January, there was and there is still disquiet within our Caribbean community, right? And I think one of the critical pieces is first education,
Mm-hmm.
right? Our people have to be educated as to where are the resources, the services, and the help that they can get if they are having any form of immigration issues. One of the things that we've done in the education sector, because I do work in education, is really to raise the awareness among our educators, principals, teachers, after school service providers, so on and so forth. Because though New York City has a sanctuary city status, we recognize that ICE cared zero about that,
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So we huddled at the beginning of January to ensure that all frontline workers, you know, at our schools in particular, understood how it is that they should engage ICE officials if they should show up at the school, for example. Because at one point in time, there was a very low, um, you know,
Attendance.
attendance rate.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
People were afraid.
Because people are afraid, right? We wanted to have community engagement events and we had to pivot to Zoom because individuals were afraid to go. And these are legitimate concerns, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that is one of the first things that we definitely have to do is to raise the awareness and to point individuals to the resources that are available. I know, for example, in Brooklyn, Gilmon Rose has been doing a lot of work in
Mm-hmm.
educating our constituents as to how they can access legal services in the event that they should get apprehended. Yes. Mhm.
This is a conversation that we started last week. Even starting with the student who got pulled that went
Mhm.
to his hearing, and that is becoming an ongoing thing in regards to people going to maybe a citizenship hearing or going to swear in or whatever or interview and not coming back. So
Right.
that is, I could understand why people are afraid. A hundred
Right.
100%. And as Caribbean people, when one is affected, we all are
We
affected.
are all
Because at
absolutely
the end of the day, Today might be me, tomorrow might be you. So
True.
don't be silent when it comes to our people as a whole. And that's why um the whole Caribbean group should get together, because that young boy that got picked up, it affects all of us.
Absolutely.
And that's where, being silent and, oh, it doesn't affect me, it doesn't affect me, is a problem.
Right, right, right. And the truth is, we can't look at it at surface level,
Hmm.
especially children, because
Hmm.
this is where
Education. Hmm.
adverse childhood experiences can follow this individual to adulthood.
Hmm.
And that's how you foster terrorists,
Hmm.
because people grow up with so much pain and hurt,
Hmm.
like
And
you have no
anger.
idea how that, and anger, you have no idea how that may manifest in the
Hmm.
future, all
Hmm.
right, if not handled properly.
That is true. That is true. So
Wait.
Roger,
Oh,
you're muted,
yeah, no, I realize that I am.
and you need to change your label.
Yeah,
You're not.
no, I realized that I was trying to change it just now. I realized that Andre put from last week the panel on immigration, and I was wondering because that's what happened actually. I logged in and I saw, and I put myself on the screen and said panel on immigration. I didn't go back, but it's all right. I'm panel on immigration today because it's kind of a topic, and that's not really what you're going to be focused on
Right.
in city council, right? And I just want to talk about, we want to introduce because of the topic of what is actually going on. And one of the fears that I have, and then I'm gonna come right back to your city council race because that's the primary focus of why you're here today. One of the fears that America has done, had done, and will continue to do is to drive an individual to the point of a behavior that you're accusing them of, and then you're driving them to that point where there's some level of suffering. So I say that to say that I've had, I was an educator for 25 years. I've never had a terrorist student from Haiti. I've had many Yemeni students. I mean, Haitian students from Yemen and many other countries, Burmese and many other countries on that list. And Myanmar became Myanmar. It was, I think it was Malaysia before that. Um, and I don't know any of them that are terrorists, right? And a lot of times, a lot of these individuals are fleeing from those countries because they are fleeing to avoid being killed, being hurt, right? Timothy McVeigh was a full-blooded American citizen, full-blooded, born in the United States when he bombed Oklahoma State. The person that was it Madison, Wisconsin, or Michigan, wherever it was, that killed all those people at the parade, right, was a full-blooded, full-born American citizen. Columbine, mass terrorists, right, American citizen, and American born that committed these crimes. So to label some people, an entire population as such, is a disgrace. And I appreciate that, and thank you for pointing that out. I want to get to your campaign, right? Everybody who comes on the show in any district, and if the 51 districts that comes on the show, they all talk about the same thing. I want to look into our senior care. I want to look into education. I want to look into affordable housing. Tell us, Lawman, for my constituency who vote in your district, I want you to now talk to them. What makes your campaign in the 41st different on the educational level? Because I know you have one, right? Keisha Martin didn't call me and say, hey, get Lawman Lynch on the radio for nothing, right? We made sure she's like, Rudy, get Lawman up here. And I got like 3 phone calls on Lawman Lynch. So that means that when you struck an entertainer like Keisha Martin, you were doing something right. So tell us what makes, tell us about you. What makes your points more salient, more feasible, right, than all of the other candidates?
Well, I'm very happy that you mentioned Keisha Martin, because Keisha Martin did our campaign jingle, which will be released tomorrow. And I'm very excited about that, but I digress. Roger, we're running a people-centered campaign where we're putting people at the center of everything we do. People is an acronym. This is something that I've been saying for many months now. People is an acronym. The first P stands for public safety. The first E in people stands for education. The O stands for opportunities and optimization. The second P stands for public health. The L stands for love. And the final E in people stands for entrepreneurship and enterprise. And I'm going to speak about education because I'm an educator and I'm very, very passionate about education. But you asked, what makes my candidacy different? And I want to address that. Politics and politicians on a whole, in our current dispensation, have a negative connotation. And that's understandable. I hear it on the road every single day. You're a politician. I don't want to have a conversation with you. Or I'm tired of the politics. I don't want to get involved in the politics. And individuals have their reasons why. So we cannot knock them for that. We just have to try to educate them, right? So though politics is the vehicle I've chosen to effect change at this time, I'm more of a community builder. I'm a youth and community development activist. I'm an educator, among other things, more than an ordinary politician, right? So from the beginning, it was a no-brainer as it relates to what should be our campaign slogan, because I am who I am. And that is, I always put people at the center of whatever it is that I'm tasked to do that would affect change or would affect the collective, right? The harsh reality is that many in Brooklyn, many in District 41 in particular, may identify as a Democrat, but they are not necessarily satisfied. And I'm learning more and more as I go door knocking, right? Our party requires bold leadership that will respectfully challenge, but at the same time enhance core developmental ideologies, that currently exist within the Democratic Party. I have many opinions on multiple issues, but at the end of the day, I must understand that I represent a constituency, and this is why I'm different. I represent a constituency, I'm representing a district. So when I get to City Hall, my rhetoric should reflect the sentiments of the majority within the majority within District 41, not just what Lawman thinks, right? The seven candidates going up against the incumbent and her multi-million dollar packs, right? Because at this stage, she's not the one running, right? The seven of us can bring about meaningful change. It cannot be said that we have been bought, because I certainly have not been bought. That makes a difference, right? And that makes me different. And I will want to believe that the other seven in the race, are like-minded. But I want to speak specifically about education. As an educator, what we, our campaign, and I'll use the terminology we a lot, and don't get confused, because I believe that my campaign is a our campaign kind of thing, right? So what we want to do is to promote a wraparound educational model. So there will be a seamless transition from day school to after school. And the reason we want to do this, Roderick and Dr. Brandt, is because we believe that our families, especially those from low income households, really need not only a safe space, but a serious developmental space for our children after day school. So we're going to invest heavily in after school programming. Not only that, we are investing in what I call district academies, right? And district academies will have five that will focus on STEM, the orange economy, and sports. This is going to be groundbreaking in the district. This is going to be groundbreaking across the city council because I do not know of any other city council representative that will definitely bring a legacy project that we're extremely passionate about, and it is important.
Repeat the stems again that you said, the different focus.
For the district academy, the district 41 academies will focus on STEM, the orange economy, and sports. And the orange economy is really the performing arts, the visual and performing arts.
Okay. Okay.
I love that. It's funny. I literally was talking to a principal today who wanted to bring into her elementary school program
Right.
sports, right? Sports and sports that are not normally played. A lot of our kids play basketball, but they don't play sports like baseball and lacrosse and the other sports that provide a lot of scholarship, right? But they
Right.
don't know
Right.
these sports because they play they get the park. You can always all you need to play basketball nowadays is just a basketball and a hoop, right? It's not raining, right? But the other sports requires dedication, commitment,
Fencing,
time.
fencing, chess,
Yeah,
Yes, fencing is
you know,
fabulous.
I love it. Your teacher, I just want to know. You said you're an educator. I just want to know which aspect of education you're in.
So I'm not in the classroom at all. I work for an organization called New York Edge, and New York Edge is the largest after school enrichment services provider in New York City, providing after school and enrichment services for most of our public schools and charter schools. We impact,
I'm aware of them, but
yeah,
I would like to get that in a couple of schools in my community board district.
right.
So if there are opportunities for that, especially
Absolutely, absolutely. Because I'm a program manager, so I have a portfolio of schools that I'm responsible for. Majority of my schools are in Brooklyn. I have one in the Bronx. But yeah, New York Edge is just a fantastic organization doing great work in our communities.
All right. So in my head I wanted to say rank the candidates. Take yourself. No, that was something in my head. But I realized it's not political.
No,
That might
I
be.
want to know something
Wait,
else.
hold on. Wait.
Rank the candidate. Come on, man.
1 second. I'm not gonna ask him that. Right. I'm not gonna ask him that. What I am gonna ask is to rank the mayoral candidates. That is something I'm gonna ask him. What's your thoughts? And especially you just had a recent debate.
Right.
Who do you endorse one right now? Who do you endorse?
Right. So the recent debates,
Or who? Let me not do that because I don't want to pigeonhole you and cause some
That's
issues.
what you're
with your
doing.
campaign.
Yes.
Let's say, who do you think, if you're gonna say to somebody, vote for one of these candidates, who would you choose? Let's do it like that.
Can we
Okay.
come back to this? Don't answer that. Don't answer that.
Why not?
Do not answer that.
Because a lot of people, they want to have some idea, like they want to, because what that also tells whose policy you're closely aligned with, right? And that also provides votes for you as well. Don't get me wrong. If they say, okay, if I were to vote for this person as mayor,
Right.
so that Lawman would be able to work with this person.
Right. So
That's a very important
So
comment.
I'm actually not afraid of the question. I The truth, and I said it earlier, that a lot of times as leaders we influence individuals, and that's understandable. But at the same time, we are on the ground. We have to check the pulse of our people. and I can share with you what the pulse is in District 41. As a matter of fact, these mayoral candidates should be asking me what the pulse is in District 41. That's what they should be asking, right? Um, I was, I believe in an egalitarian approach to national development. So therefore, I believe in an egalitarian approach to district development, community development. With that said, Zoran has, some issues on the table, some ideas on the table that I believe will resonate with the average New Yorker. The question now is, can New York foot the bill? Because what Zoran's policies really reflects a serious social safety net for the most vulnerable. So we cannot dismiss his ideas, right? And I believe recently, probably about a week ago, he did indicate how he would pay for free buses. He did indicate how he would provide, more affordable housing units. Last night in the debate, it was clear that there was an unspoken agreement, or maybe it was, something that's public, I don't know, that let us attack Cuomo, which is totally fine. It's a political strategy. But Cuomo, being the astute politician that he is, I believe he navigated those attacks fairly well. Interestingly, when I'm on the ground on a daily basis, from the period of petitioning to current, when we are door knocking and canvassing, there's a large number of individuals who are actually pro Cuomo. These are my constituents. These are people who I want to represent. So I have to now understand where they're coming from. So I believe that within District 41, there's a toss-up between Cuomo and Zoran. Based on what I've been hearing, I personally know who is leading, based on basic litmus tests that we have done, or team has done. But I don't believe that is something that, as Dr. Bryan said earlier, we should disclose at this point in time.
True politician in the making. Love it. Dr. Bryan, you had a question.
So I do have a question. What personal experiences as a Jamaican immigrant have most influenced your passion for youth advocacy and public service in District 41?
I would say growing up in Jamaica, I did experience and or witness marginalization, discrimination, classism. Believe it or not, there is racism in Jamaica. But you won't get me to pound the negatives about my island home, because every nation has its challenges, right? But I've seen parents in Jamaica work extremely hard, right? And still could not afford childcare. And that's why I started my foundation back home, right? I've seen where children are left at home on a daily basis, unattended. Children the age of single digits, so 9-year-olds, 8-year-olds, the same issues in Jamaica, a developing country. Those same issues are actually here in the United States, and I was also very close to the politics in Jamaica. I know what it is to mobilize at the grassroots level and the importance of that type of mobilization. So all of those experiences back home, and just lived experiences and living vicariously through others, I brought that to America, because I did migrate as an adult. And when I experience and see that there are so many of the same challenges here, and children and young people, especially those in low income households, wanting childcare, from low income households not having enough healthy food. It's not that we don't have food, but we may not have healthy food to eat. I believe that it was very important, And it is very critical that I get involved opposed to be complaining. Okay, Lawman, so why not just focus on your foundation? Why not just be the best educator you can be? Why not just be a community development practitioner some other way? Why not just do that opposed to getting involved in politics? I get that. I understand that. However, I believe that there are certain issues that can be dealt with in an accelerated manner once you are in a seat where you can really and truly influence policy. And that's why I really want to get involved.
I love it. Love it.
You can reiterate for the audience a little bit the letters in people, which I actually do love that. And my word is focus. First things first, other things last. Cut out the unnecessary. Unified behind the vision and stick to itiveness. Your people, which is excellent. Let's focus on the first letter that you spoke about. You can remind the audience what it stands for,
Right.
what it stands for. But let's go back and focus on the first letter. Tell us a little bit. How do you plan to get that first letter done and to alleviate some of the concerns, right, that people have about the first letter P?
Right. So our campaign is really about social justice, and we are moving the whole social justice initiative through our people acronym. First P in people stands for public safety, and we're all interested in public safety. Last night in the mayoral debate, they were speaking about public safety primarily as it relates to what is happening on our trains, right? But we want to know that we are safe in our homes. We want to know that once we step outside, we're safe on our blocks, in our communities. Some communities in District 41 are safer than others, but we want to ensure that everyone is safe, right? So we have already began our conversations with the various precincts in the district to see how best we can amalgamate the initiatives and the work that these precincts are doing, because they're almost operating in silo at the moment, right? And I believe that we need to bring all precincts to the table in a more intentional and strategic manner to really come up with a community development plan around public safety, and also get our community stakeholders involved, or faith-based organizations involved. So our policy proposals will include community-led safety programs that could increase opportunities for officers to participate in community events, youth mentorship programs, and local services initiatives, right? We also want to invest in youth programs. So the expansion of our after school programs, we spoke about that earlier. Also our weekend activities through our district academies. The reality is the crime doesn't just happen by itself or happen in a vacuum. A gun wouldn't go off unless somebody pulls the trigger. A gun wouldn't go off unless somebody has the time to go do that. So we have to address these issues from the root causes. About 2 months ago, I was at the 73rd Precinct Council meeting, and the presiding officer indicated that they recognized that there was an uptick in certain crimes, and these crimes were happening between 3 p.m. and 7 p.m. And that caught my attention, because my doctoral dissertation is really on the impact after school program has on society. So I'm like, why is that so? And what's the age group? When these individuals are apprehended, what's the age group? And lo and behold, these are children, these are young people. So we have to ensure that our children, our young people, are gainfully engaged after school, are gainfully engaged on the weekends, so that they have absolutely no time for crime and violence. And that is what public safety is going to be all about. Really conversations, bringing people to the table so that we can devise strategies and then put those strategies into action.
I do significantly appreciate that, and January 1st, you get sworn in with the mayor, with the new mayor, the new.
From your lips to God's ears.
Uh, that is true, as the expression goes. What's your first law that you want to put into place? Because as a legislator, you're required to make law. What is first charter revision, first law that you would like to put in place?
So depending on who is the mayor, even though I believe that two of the front runners, we are on the same page where this is concerned. A low-hanging fruit for me is universal access to after-school programs. And that's a policy that I would want, enacted within our communities, not just District 41, but predominantly. Project District 41 is the heart of Brooklyn. District 41 has been forgotten for many, many, many years. COVID, there has been so much learning loss. There has been the learning gap has widened. We definitely have to invest in education. If nothing else, we have to invest in education, because education, once we can increase the educational level within our district, we will see incremental changes in the future. Certain things will not happen overnight. We won't see the change that we want, the change that we desire overnight. But we have to bite the bullet, right? Really put our money where our mouths are and get this done. And I believe that education is a very important first base.
So I'm gonna push back on you on that.
One second, Dr. Brian. 1 second. I'm sorry, he touched on a point. I want to make sure I address it almost immediately. I appreciate that. Thank you for just holding off for a second. When you're campaigning, I love the education push. But a voter, especially within the districts that we represent, wants to hear what is in it for me. So when you're speaking to that voter who doesn't want to hear about education, or the senior who has already passed that time, how does people increase each age group's opportunity?
So that's along the line of the question I was about to push back on. Because District 41 is generation of stigma and problem with education. So how you able to address those individuals, not only the children, but the adults? So this is a generational breakdown. That's grandma, great grandma, mama or whatever. How are you going to reach them when they didn't have that part?
Yeah, because those kids, that goes great to teach your kids. They're not the one responsible for putting food on the table and paying rent.
And how are you going to break that gap or target that?
So let us reason. I'm actually loving this conversation. This no longer feels like an interview. This is a real reasoning.
No, right? we have conversation on the
conversations. Yeah,
that's what we do. We follow the flow of the conversation and we go with it, right? We go, because at the end of the day, the three of us on this platform right now are all educators.
Right.
I worked in the 41st district, and I still do. Right.
She worked in the 41st immediately, and as a school administrator in the 41st. So she gets to see the grandma, the uncle, auntie, and all those. And I worked in education pre-retirement in districts similar to these.
Right.
So in a way, we're kind of like helping you along, as well as asking you questions, right? So we're helping you along for you, something for you to think about over the next 2.5 weeks of campaigning that would increase your voter turnout. So don't take it the wrong way. I want you to
absolutely not. You
And by
know,
the way, just also for the record, both of us also have a lot of political knowledge, right?
right,
Over the years that we've been dealing with politics.
right. You know, I was worried about the focus on education until I actually got on the road. And I've spoken to, when we knock on the doors and I say to them, okay, my name is Lawman, this is what I'm running on. What is it? What are some of the issues that you'd want us to address? Believe it or not, after school care comes up a lot,
Mhm.
and youth development opportunities. We need youth centers. The community center. There's nothing here for our young people. Those things,
Internships.
inter,
Internship. Mhm.
internships, extra, all of these things come up. And for E, the final E in people, that's entrepreneurship and enterprise. And I haven't spoken about our business incubators just yet. But education actually comes up, and our grandmas who have passed, going to elementary school or high school, they want that for their grandchildren. The parents want that for the children. Our young adults want it for their younger brothers and sisters, right? So I also gathered that people are not as selfish as we think. So I may not benefit right now, but the message we're selling, or the message we're offering, is that we invest in our future, right? That's what we're doing. We're actually investing in our future, because I said it earlier as well, that the change won't happen overnight. It has to happen, over time. And we have to start somewhere. I'm not going to overpromise and underdeliver, right? I can, and I believe that this is a low-hanging fruit. This is something I know we can do um urgently, immediately, and really build out a legacy project, and then track the development of our young people over 12 months, 24 months, 36 months, so on and so forth. And then see how the district develops, right, and benefits from that investment. But you're absolutely correct, Roderick. You're absolutely correct, Dr. Bryant. People want jobs, jobs, jobs. Can Lawman promise jobs? I'm not gonna do it. But what I can say is, through our entrepreneurship and enterprise platform issue, we have already begun to have conversations with established businesses in the district to provide internship opportunities for our young people, right?
Apprenticeship, by the way.
Apprenticeship is also, and I'm going to jot down that word, because I've not been using the word apprenticeship at all, right? But that's definitely something that I need to take on the road, that terminology, because it's important. So the business incubator would be a 6 to 12 month program, where we would identify individuals within the district who either, one, wants to start a business and don't know, they don't understand the know-how, but they have a great idea. We'll help them. We walk them through, creating their business plan, so on and so forth. Provide them with the mentorship, and provide them also with startup capital. Or two, an established business that is struggling, right, but could do with the mentorship from other established business within the district. There are so many businesses along the district, the business belt, in District 41, that have been closed or struggling. We have to revitalize the district. And I think once we're able to do that through partnerships, collaboration, and accessing the resources, we should be able to see not just a facelift, but an economic lift in District 41.
All right, excellent. Before I chime in, Dr. Brian, I know I jumped in for the last question. So before I chime in, do you want to jump in before I ask my next question?
That was the question I wanted to ask him. When I thought about the people in District 41, because you do have a lot of young parents.
Mhm.
You have a lot of you have a combination of everything. So, like
Sure.
Magic says, education is imperative. Apprenticeship is imperative, but there's also other needs besides that too. And that's where I wanted to hear how are you going to target those individuals?
So
Right.
I want to chime in with another political advice, right? Um, Education is clearly your strong point, right? That's clearly your strong point. I would task you to pivot to that strong point, right? At every opportunity. So when I asked you about the seniors and the people who are beyond that high school college age, right? You're never too old to be educated, right? About things that are happening within your community. So you want to educate your seniors about affordable housing. How do they get access to it? Right? You're actually going to do town halls, right? About access to these things, access to entrepreneurship. How do you get the bank loans? We're going to teach you how to basically be self sufficient with our help, right? Because education is also my strong point as well, right? So for me, my goal is how well can I decrease the ignorance, whether it's purposeful or incidental, of our community, right? Um, People want jobs. So, yes, we're going to bring job fairs and we're going to have conversations. I'm going to tell you how to apply for these jobs, how to do your resume, create workshops. You talk about the after schools. Why not at the community center offer media, bring in a teacher or administrator like Dr. Brian to help individuals write a resume? Because funnily enough, trust me, she and I both have seen resumes. We're like, are you serious? Remind people that you don't have to be college educated. Um,
Right.
East New York Transit Tech, I'm not sure if it's in your district or a little bit out, with a CTE program, right? We want where you go as far. I think Paul
Rock,
Robeson. I think Rob.
Rockwell.
No. I think Paul Robeson is in your district,
Hmm.
and that's a CTE school. As a matter of fact, Barack Obama actually came to that school when he was president of the United States. The career technical education, right? And that's affordable. So just knowing, right, how CTE, how bringing information to people, right, will help them to make, no matter what age group you are, better. It's just how you access the information, right? An elementary school kid is going to access it differently through the arts, through the this. A,
Hmm.
a person who's 30 years old will access the information to provide a roof over their head, right? Shelter, right? So that is your strong point, and just keep it up. Some people's strong point is public safety, right? So, you know, how do you provide for something if you don't feel safe?
Correct.
You're not really thinking about anything about unless you're safe. Just some thoughts, like some parting thoughts, um, to help you. And I like the fact that within your community you plan to represent all people, because our Latin brothers and sisters,
Hmm.
Latino brothers and sisters. You have your Caribbean immigrant. You have your American
True.
individuals, a large percent. You have your Muslim brothers and sisters, a large Jewish component. You really are. You really have a mezcla. This is the Spanish word, a mixture. Is it English? A mixture of individuals that you will be representing in every community, every culture. Have their own need, and I think everybody wants to feel special, that you are
Absolutely.
providing them the
That
opportunity for
special attention. Hmm.
yes. So this is awesome. Tell us a little bit. Have you received any endorsements? How's your fundraiser going? matching funds, anything. So tell us, I think one of the questions was, what makes you the right candidate? So tell us how that is going.
In terms of fundraising, we are very meticulous in navigating that process. We're the only campaign apart from the incumbents to receive matching funds back in April. We got roughly almost $50,000 in matching funds in April, and we are very, very happy about that. Very happy about that.
Can I get some? I just want to know.
And then last week, Friday, again, we were able to get matching funds. And I want to congratulate another candidate, Dante, who also received matching funds last week. So, collectively, we are the campaign that we have raised the most monies out of all the other candidates, including the incumbents. In terms of private funds and matching funds, we have raised over $100,000, which sets us apart, way ahead of other candidates. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. So we're very happy about that. In terms of endorsements, I believe that a lot of the interviewers or the individuals, the organizations that we sat before, they are still, for some reason, Roderick and you and Dr. Brand, you're probably you're politicians. You would probably have a better idea or understanding as to why individuals are dealing with District 41 with a long stick pole, right? With a very long pole. So endorsements are still coming in. We're still awaiting the endorsements from NYCC. We're awaiting the endorsement from BYD, CSA. There are multiple organizations that did interviews that have not endorsed a candidate in District 41 just yet. But we're in communication with them. We're given, the assurance.
I can actually answer that question with ease. So what happens is that unions and large organizations don't normally do non-incumbents because they see them as somebody who's already in office and that they could affect judgment and laws. So it's the only time the most major organization would do that do endorsements is that they normally would stay out of a race. Right? That's what they would do. The best. If you get them to stay out of a race, it says a lot, right? You says a lot about that candidate. Your incumbent has a very strong hold on the seniors. Very, very strong hold on the seniors. She does a lot. That's her bread and butter, right? I'm not asking that she was elected since 2005. So I'm fully aware of who she was under the New York Committee for Change. I bet they never called ACORN. And so it's hard, right? It's hard for a non-incumbent. Now, if you are running in a
open seat,
then the endorsements now become different. Right. So it's not because you don't have a good campaign or that you're not a great candidate. Sometimes the incumbent is the lousiest candidate. And he or she will still get the endorsement because of the incumbent name behind them. Right. So that they don't take it any way, shape, or form about these endorsements.
But what
we need to do is focus on who is going to elect you. You get your whatever number of votes needed to win that primary, right? Whether it's you said there are 8 of you running, right? You focus on the number you need. what did she get in the last primary? Because she had a couple candidates running against her. So what
Yeah.
did you do to get your number? And you focus on that number. Make sure that your people come out and vote for you
Right.
during the primary, during the what is
Early
it?
voting.
Called?
Early voting.
No, Joe, what is it called?
The 25th, the primary.
No, not that. Before that.
24th.
Not that.
Oh, you early voting?
Early voting, right?
Yeah,
So
that starts next week.
The
yeah,
14th. All right.
yeah. Make sure your people come out and vote, and then you get into her numbers as well. Know where
Right.
your hub is, right? And you got the money, so you should be hiring a lot of young people, 18 to 21. That's the age group you want, 18 to 21. Hey, yeah, wait a minute. Am I running your campaign? I'm just
I'm loving it. I'm loving every minute of it.
I just realized.
Continue.
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead. Go ahead.
No, I'm done. I'm no longer political strategist.
Oh my God. Here it is.
Yeah, Joe, you really didn't stop me, Joanne? Really?
Listen,
Really?
listen, how can people reach you?
Yeah.
Because we're coming to the end. We only have a minute left. How
Yes.
can people reach
So-
you and what should they do?
So please go to lawmanlynchforbrooklyn.com. That's lawmanlynchforbrooklyn.com, or visit us on our social media platforms, Lawman Lynch NY, all social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Lawman Lynch NY, or our website, lawmanlynchforbrooklyn.com. You'll see all our platform issues.
Number of the word.
Pardon?
For the number or the word? Lawman Lynch for Brooklyn. Is that the
Okay,
number?
for the number, Lawman Lynch FOR Brooklyn.com. Lawman Lynch for Brooklyn.
Yeah, our normal executive producer who just stood up on the screen is not here. So, oh wait, I could actually do it. Hold on. I think I learned how.
Thank you so much. And come June.
Wait, Lawman Lynch
FOR Brooklyn.
for to spell out the word Brooklyn.
Yes, please.
.com.
That's correct.
Okay. All right, let's just throw it up there. That's
yeah.
it.
No. The word for FOR.
Oh, see, I guess I didn't hear when you answered me. So let's go back.
FOR.
Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, elections coming up. Please go out to vote.
Next week.
Next
it starts
week,
next
June
week.
14,
Next week.
June 14
Hey.
is the early voting. It's very important that you go out to vote. As of June 14 is early voting up until June 22. And then the big day is June 24. This is ranked choice voting, so you can select up to 5, right? You can select up to 5 individuals.
Don't be telling people that.
Let me tell you why it is important, right?
No. You select one.
Because but you see,
select
Roger,
one. I know what you're saying. I understood exactly why you're saying it. Select one.
Lawman Lynch, your
There
first
you
choice.
go. That's what I heard.
Second on the ballot. Second, number 2 on the ballot. So once you see Lawman Lynch, just shade that circle.
There you go. Lawman Lynch. That's it. Lawman Lynch. All right.
Right. Thank you so
You know,
much.
Charles. Listen. Lawman Lynch. Charles Barron reminded people there's nobody else on the ballot but Charles Barron.
Right.
I get why you're saying the other thing. Just in case you had somebody like choose me second.
Yeah.
Get it. Right. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Mr. Lynch, for joining us today. And please call Keisha and tell her that and Mr. Kwamina.
I will.
Right.
I'm sure Mr. Kwamina is watching. Kwamina. And he'll tell you it's Kwamina. Kwamina.
No, I know it's why I say Kwamina because I'm Jamaican, so you know you say
right. I made the same mistake too. Don't worry about it.
And
all
good
the
luck.
best. Yes, right? All the best.
Right. You have a lot of I love that people. I love people. But public safety, I I forgot the first E. What's the first E?
Education,
Education.
Public
You
safety,
should know that.
right? Public safety, education, opportunity, uh,
public health,
public health,
love,
love, and
entrepreneurship.
entrepreneurship. So, ladies and gentlemen, the people's candidate, Lawman Lynch, for the first. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank
Thank
Have
you
a
you.
great
so much. Have a great evening.
Bye
You
bye.
too. Roger, we have no time. We're behind schedule, but I want to take this opportunity to wish my wonderful bambino, Isaac,
Isaac.
a happy birthday.
What's his name? What's your bambino's name?
Isaac. There you
Uh,
go.
All right.
A
When,
happy
when
birthday.
was his will be his birthday?
His birthday was on Sunday, so a happy birthday.
Oh yes, and guess
The
what?
first. It was the
Guess what?
first.
Guess
What's
what?
that? What's that?
My second to last born birthday is on Tuesday.
Oh, well, happy birthday.
And also,
June, baby. Oh,
yeah,
June,
yeah,
baby.
yeah, whatever.
Isaac started in June.
Right.
And then shout out to Jalen, who will be in town as of tomorrow. And thank you for our listeners who actually chimed on. Benev, Star Girl, Jalen, Ingrid, thank you for sharing.
Oh,
Yes.
wait, I forgot. Thank you, everyone. Last week's show was very successful. If you didn't see it, please go back and watch it. Very successful show. Thank you to everyone who participated. All of the questions was one of our
Yes.
most successful show for a little bit. We've been, pretty good about that. And so thank you. And listen, throw the topics out there. Throw the topics out there. Make sure that you support those people who support you.
Yes.
Please, thank you for watching, viewing, participating, and most of all, subscribing to our YouTube channel.
Yes.
Right? Where we're dedicated to empowering the community to live a healthy, safe, and financially capable life through education, helping each one of us realize our dreams at any age, at any time, starting from today. And again, happy birthday to Grayson, and congratulations on all of your accolades that you have received. God bless each and every one of you. Have a great evening.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Good night.
Good night.